COVID-19, get it another one. There have been significant economic impacts to this thing on a lot of men of color. Job losses, folks have been unable to pay rent or their mortgage, folks have been unable to pay child support, stuff like that. Besides the health impacts of this virus, these strikes against manhood, all that stuff comes up. I lose my job. I'm all about many men define themselves by what they do and how much money they bring home, what their bank account looks like. Suddenly you're in a situation due to no fault of your own where you can't take care of your family, you can't provide for that roof over your head, and that causes mental and emotional stress. What are some of the ways from your perspective that men can wade through these waters? This is a tough time with regard to that. I'm very lucky that I've not dealt with that personally yet. But a year ago, it was on my mind. A lot of my contracts were tied to the entertainment industry. So when concerts and performances got canceled, I'm sitting there thinking I might have to flip some burgers to keep the roof over their head. It got tight. Luckily, God is a miracle worker, as my grandfather used to say. So things happen for me, but a lot of brothers are going through it right now. What can you guys say about how we can wade through those waters and protect ourselves emotionally and mentally?
Yeah, man, I just start with, I see y'all. I know it's hard. As nurses, we're lucky we didn't have our jobs taken away. We didn't get told we can't go to work. So I see y'all. And I think it's easy for me to say, but I would try to frame it as opposed to what you're losing from COVID is what you're doing for your family, right? You're able to keep your family safe in other means, keeping them cleaned, healthy, keeping them, socially distanced, doing things that you can control. Because when someone takes your job away from you, and it's related to a disease that you may not even know anyone who has it personally, that it's easy to get frustrated. And I've heard that from a lot of folks, is that frustration of it's not even my quality of my work. It's not my last my last evaluation that went poorly. It's something that's completely out of my control. And like you said, without that control, it just makes it even more difficult. So building the control back into what we can house is important.
Yeah. Thoughts about that one, Jerry?
It's tough. Like Carter said, we as a nurse, we didn't have that option. We weren't told that you had to stay home. We were at work. We went through. I do think of like one person that comes to my head is my brother who's not in that field, and his struggles of maintaining, providing for his family, and that, and feeling for him and saying like I hear you. What other ways, and trying to just listen to him when I can, and just being there, because I mean there's not so much I can do for him. I can't get him a job, unfortunately, but he had to find his way through. And just being supportive. It's like, it's not even about you. This is just something so big that it took out a lot of people. For me and my family, how do we help out other people? It's like, smaller businesses. How do I help? What are these other small local restaurants that just open up, or how can we support them? Because we don't want to see them have that failure, during this pandemic. So support them that way.
Absolutely. This has been an incredibly robust conversation, gentlemen. I really appreciate your time. Given everything we've talked about, I'm wondering from each of you, parting words. Where do we go from here? What words would you have for men? Carter, I'm going to take one of yours. You always give me a takeaway or two, Carter. This isn't a COVID world. This is a world, and COVID is just a little pebble in that world. It's just a small part of everything we have to deal with. So that's going to help me. What words of encouragement or parting words would you have for all of the men who are checking out this video or listening to this podcast? How do we deal with COVID moving forward?
I think you touched on it, Mike. You talked about the history, right? And 100 years is a long time, right? It's a couple generations. So the folks that experienced the last large pandemic aren't with us anymore. So this is our pandemic, and those people got through it, and we will get through this. So I think we get through it by listening to the experts, by doing the three things, the three pillars that we talked about, to staying safe and checking in with each other. I think men now, more than ever, we need each other. We can lean on each other. We're all experiencing the same thing. I think that's where we can go from here as we go through this together, right? And we need that now more than ever. So, fellas, check in on each other, and we got you.
Love it, love it. What about you, Jerry? What you got?
I look at it like the same way. It's history happens. You have all these other pandemics that have occurred, and we made it through. It's tough when you're going through it, but I'm hopeful. I'm hopeful that, praying that even by the summertime, things are going to get a little back to normal. Yeah. And that my relationships with my friends that, when we used to go to restaurants like every Monday, hang out and just chill and drink and just talk and, just kind of lean on each other, have that camaraderie. Looking forward to having those back. But in the meantime, just, doing it in a different way, that virtual, that text message, just being there. It's a different way. It may not be that physical, touch, but that emotional connection is there.
You touched on one thing I want to touch on quickly, Jerry. You said that text message, and that's what I've been telling folks too. 100 years from now, most people didn't even have telephones, let alone FaceTime. So now moving into the holidays, I told folks, we have the benefit of even doing what we're doing right now. Can you imagine going through something like that? You got to write your relative a letter and put it in the mail and wait for a reply. And then if the reply doesn't come, by horse, exactly. And then if the reply doesn't come, you're worried, are they okay? Are they sick? Did they die? What's going on? So we can look at the benefits we've got to going through this now. And then that's aside from 100 years of science and folks like you guys on the front line who are well informed and put together and can help us get through this. So that's not a better way, I don't think, to wrap up. Jerry, I feel a little guilty with you first, sir. I've taken up an hour of your time, and you need to get some sleep and get some rest so you can get back on your feet and back to 100%. But I want to thank you, Jerry Bambao, for stopping in with Brother Be Well. Thank you, sir.
Thank you for having me. It's a true honor. Thank you.
Really appreciate it. Carter Todd, my buddy, president of the Capital City Black Nurses Association. If you want to read up about them, go to ccbna.org. Carter, thanks a lot, man.
Thanks, Mike. Appreciate you, brother.
Appreciate you. We'll see you next time. And for you checking us out either via podcast or video, I appreciate your time as well. If you've seen or heard something that you like, go to mentalhealthca.org. You can see a variety of videos just like this one, get all kinds of tips about living your absolute best life, for lack of sounding like a certain media mogul. And you can also subscribe to our magazine. It's a free subscription, but you can do all of that at mentalhealthca.org. Until next time, I am Michael P. Coleman. I am content director for Brother Be Well, and I'm also encouraging you to take good care of yourself and somebody else. Bye-bye.